Previously on Haunted.
She said there was an unattended pram left in the park.
Ooh, that's spooky.
What about the baby?
Well, that's the thing. No pram, no baby. Well, no wedding ring was found on her, and she didn't have her fiancé listed as an next of kin.
They met in church, at a food drive for the homeless. She got pregnant.
Abigail, I found him.
This man was the ex-fiancé of Sandra Miller, a woman who died not 2 days ago in an identical manner.
Yes.
And he said his name was Gus, and that he was lonely. Have you ever described Gus to him before? Not once.
Are you Adam?
Yes?
Your mum wanted you to come back for dinner. You've been out playing for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just playing.
There, through the patio door. There's smoke in the kitchen.
Molly! Molly!
Haunted, the audio drama. Episode 2. A Soft Cry. Part 3 of 6. Written by Benton Hodges.
That's 2 bodies you found in 1 week, James. That doesn't look good.
What did you do with Adam?
We called his father. They've gone to stay with his parents.
And his mother?
She's currently in autopsy. A far more thorough examination this time.
What?
There are some methods of murder, exotic ones, that don't show up on your average or even in-depth tests. Something a nurse or botanist might know. Like injecting insulin between the toes so the needle can't be found.
Sneaky. Was the black liquid there too?
Yes. You were right. It was blood. There was another substance in it, but pathology can't quite figure it out yet, so they've sent it to toxicology. However, the brains weren't rotted like the signal victims.
Interesting. So am I a suspect?
Unsurprisingly, Abigail has an alibi for you. She says you never left her sight from seeing the Vic alive to dead. Of course, we both know Abigail would say just about anything to protect you, but the kid also says you were never alone from the moment you found him at the creek to the moment you made it home. The fire can't have been burning that long based on the damage to the property. Still, that's 3 deaths in a very short space of time, not long after all that business with Mark Rawlinson. If we don't solve this one soon, the town is going to go into panic mode. Abigail has theories.
I bet she does.
And what about you? What weird tales from the crypt have you dreamt up to explain this?
I don't know.
Would you care to explain the pills we found on your person? The ones that were prescribed in the early 90s? How old would you have been in 1991? 1? 2 years old? Are you on medication now?
Take my blood if you want. It's just booze.
I'll take your word for it instead. I doubt there's much of a satisfying high associated with heart medication. Where did you find it?
In an old tree house. It belonged to Adam's mother. She made it 30 years ago.
Similar timing to the prescription.
I think it's a coincidence.
The pills are surprisingly well preserved. You'd expect them to be no more than dust by now, but they're still testing as effective.
The treehouse was well preserved too, oddly enough.
Weird world we live in.
So what happens now?
Well, I've got your statement. Even if I wanted to convict you, there is little evidence that isn't entirely circumstantial. Just, for the love of God, try and keep your nose clean. You turn up with any more bodies and I'm going to have a hard time not sending you to jail.
Thank you. I have a favour to ask.
Of course you do.
Do you think I could look around the victim's house a little bit more?
Once the lab boys are done with it, just don't disturb anything. Got it?
Got it.
Creepy, isn't it?
What?
Empty house, ticking clock. Something unnerving about it. Look here. That's the chair she died in. Now it's just tape and markers.
Yeah.
Any new theories yet?
No, but I am formulating something.
Care to share?
3 people, all relatively young, die with a look of horror etched across their face and with symptoms denoting a heart attack. And the blood in their ear.
Uh-huh.
One in the park after hearing a baby cry and seeing a pram.
Yeah.
A pram that was never found, and a baby that was never heard.
And she had miscarried recently.
Exactly. Then we discover her ex-fiancé, dead in his bed watching TV. Well, he just turned the TV off.
And potentially had an affair.
And lastly, a completely unrelated family, so far as we know. A happily married couple and their child. The mother claims that her childhood was accompanied by a spirit named Gus.
That her son starts seeing.
And we find her dead, here. And she was facing this way, which is...
The fireplace. Maybe there's something in there.
Maybe. Or perhaps those photos on the mantelpiece.
Let's see. Family outing, wedding photograph. I think this one must be her mother.
That would make the older photo her father. Same eyes and nose. He's quite young, too. Early 40s, maybe? Not up-to-date photos, it seems.
She never mentioned her father dying much younger than her mother.
Abigail, with your computer, do you think you could find out when he died?
It's a laptop, James.
What's the difference?
Well, one sits on a table whilst the other sits on your lap, and it's portable.
So it's a laptop computer?
Well, I guess, but nobody calls it that.
I don't care, I was right.
Unfortunately, Saunders is quite a common name. Local paper lists 4 obituaries with male named Saunders.
All within the last 30 years?
Yeah,
What about 1991 specifically?
just the one.
Does the obituary list a cause of death?
No. Beloved father and husband, aged 48.
Think you could dig up the cause of death?
Yeah, I'd probably need to ask Dan, and I've asked quite a lot of him lately. But we have no choice. Somehow I doubt Molly's husband is in a talkative mood.
Fantastic. I'll call you in a few hours.
Wait, where are you going?
David's house.
What?
That outline there, in the dust on the wall, is it me? Or does it look like a crucifix?
Yeah. Maybe it fell off.
I couldn't deny that this case was starting to get to me. As much as I wanted to brush it off as coincidences that befell 3 tragedies, that part of my mind, that part I'm deeply ashamed of, wants to believe it's more than it seems. Maybe a part of me wants to believe that no worldly thing could rend a face with such a look of horror. Getting into David's house wasn't hard. There were still police folk combing the house, and Dan had forewarned them of me. They still eyed me warily, though. I entered his bedroom. The body had gone, but the odour had seeped into the room. Not even the air freshener could fight the pervasive cloud of deathly stench. Luckily, the disc had remained untouched. Choir performance, 2019. The tape was simple. 3 rows of singers clad in robes and harmonising beautifully, their voices echoing off the stone chapel walls. The pews were filled with churchgoers. The microphone of the camera peaked a few times and the audio was tinny, but that was to be expected with a single handheld. The video picked up where it had been paused and I rewound a few seconds back. Whoever had filmed this had picked the opportune moment to zoom into the second row. There was David next to Sandra. Their hands were below the shoulder height of the front row, but you could tell they were together. A few seconds passed and the camera panned to the woman on their right, Rhonda. It was hard to tell, but it looked like David's eyes slid in her direction as well. Judging by the timings, this is when the tape would have been paused. There was something else that caught my eye, so I rewound a few seconds and focused on David. There was a gold crucifix hanging from his neck. It shone slightly as the camera reflected the light.
Officer Dan Cowell speaking?
It's me.
If you tell me you found another body, I'm going to scream.
No bodies, possible lead though.
What?
Can you check the possessions found on the body of David, see if a crucifix was found on him?
Can I know why?
It's just a working theory at the moment, but the only footage I have of him, he's wearing a golden crucifix. I was wondering if it was on his body.
Alright, I've got a list here. No. There's no crucifix among the deceased possessions. Does that help your theory?
I see. I noticed there was a crucifix missing from Mrs. Saunders's home too. I didn't notice any religious iconography at Sandra's house either. It's a bit of a stretch, but enough of a coincidence that it keeps playing on my mind.
You think whoever is behind this is taking the crucifixes? Why? Some sort of trophy?
It's definitely possible.
Right, I'll check on which churches each of the victims attended. It might be where they were scouted.
That's what I was thinking.
Before I go, I got a call earlier from Town Hall asking for authorization to release old files to a member of the public.
Abigail.
Yeah, do you want to tell me why she's asking to access those records?
She's looking for information on the death of Molly Saunders's father.
Huh. Do you think that links to the current deaths?
Unlikely, but you never know.
You ever consider being a detective? You've got a good eye for detail, I'll give you that. It'd be a more honest living than this paranormal stuff.
I did think of it, actually, but I'll leave that to you guys. I couldn't handle the red tape, or having to be sober at work.
Yeah, the red tape's a bit of a bitch. Right, I'll keep you in the loop.
Sure. I do believe he's starting to like me. Dan just called me. No link with the churches. Sandra and David were Methodists, the Saunders were Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening?
Yeah. Sorry, I've been in the archives for hours. None of this stuff is digitised, and whoever filed this needs to be blackballed from working in filing ever again.
In the town hall. They're probably long dead.
Then resurrect them, fire them, and then put them in the ground. This is a nightmare. Half of it is in ascending order, the other half isn't. Some is alphabetised, most of it isn't. I swear, this is like the fifth circle of hell. I mean, for God's sake...
Abigail?
Yes?
Sorry, I thought if I didn't stop you there, I'd be on the phone until I got a brain tumour.
That's not how phones work, James.
Are you sure? I swear I heard that about phones.
Yeah, maybe 10 years ago from crazy people. Plus, most people just text these days.
I prefer this format, thank you. I've seen the way you text people with all the little pictures. It's like trying to decipher hieroglyphics. Who are you messaging that aubergines come up so often?
Look, were you calling about something in particular?
Yes, so Dan went around to the local churches and found that they attend different ones. But here is the kicker. They had all recently stopped attending regularly, at least a month before their deaths.
Seriously?
Yes. All of them had attended weekly mass, church dues and Christmas sermons, the whole 9 yards.
And all of them dead, in the same manner?
And all of them missing crucifixes.
Really?
As far as I can tell, yes. We could have a modus operandi.
An MO? Are you telling me we might be on the trail of a serial killer?
Could be. I'm sorry it's not something supernatural.
I'm disappointed, of course, but still, hunting down a serial killer, that's a fun evening too.
You're a very strange young woman.
So should I still be in here looking up Mrs. Saunders' dad?
It can't hurt. Do you want me to come and help?
No, I've got this. I'm going to blast some music and just push ahead.
Well, good luck.
All right, let's sort out this mess. Where did I leave that? I didn't leave the door open. Hello? Katie? Are you still here? Must have been my imagination. She's left the lights on in her office.
I don't like the dark.
Hello? Who's there? Hello? Oh, Katie, it's you!
Yeah, this is where I work.
But I...
Are you alright? Find what you're looking for?
No. Whoever did the filing in there needs to be shot.
I'll let them know.
Right. Back to it then.
I'd help if I could, but I have my first night off in months.
Well, have fun.
Right, let me hit the lights. Don't want to leave those on.
Oh, don't worry, I can do it when I leave. I know it must be uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable turning a light off. It's not that hard.
But you said you don't like the dark.
I did?
I turned your light off and I heard you say you don't like the dark.
That wasn't me. I think you're hearing things, darling.
Maybe I am.
Well, I'm off. Have a good night.
Right, time to get through this pile. Wait a second. Mr. Saunders. Death, 1991. Cause of death, cardiac arrest. Got it. No signal. Oh, for God's sake, how have I lost signal? Oh! Who's there? Hello? What's that? Snagged in there. Gus Temperman, age 9, missing 1991. Ah! Oh God.
Dr. Harry Bachman speaking.
Harry, it's James Hunter.
Ah, hello James. How are you?
So-and-so.
Well, that's middling to hear. I know you don't do social calls, so how can I help?
I was wondering if you could give me some advice on the occult.
Well, I hope I could, lest I let my degree go to waste.
Fantastic. There's been a string of deaths occurring in this town recently, and while searching for a link between them, I discovered that all of them had recently turned their backs on the church.
Okay. And how exactly are they dying?
Shock, it seems. All of them at healthy ages, too. Coroner couldn't find anything wrong with them either, besides some blood in the ear. I was wondering if you might have an idea?
Off the top of my head...
No. I'm sure if you go back far enough, you could draw up a list of people put to death for their beliefs, or lack thereof, long enough to circle the globe. That's the nature of the game, I'm afraid.
Anything in recent years?
Of this style? No. Atheism being legal in most countries has put a stop to a lot of that. Though, I wouldn't rule out some of those evangelists or an Old Testament cult who follow the good book to the letter. Has there been any symbology left at the crime scenes?
Nothing at all.
Then it's unlikely to be an affair of that nature. Killers of this manner can't resist leaving all sorts of symbols, clues and cryptograms. They tend to believe themselves to be righteous and doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. The police are reluctant to call it murder, though the deaths are identical.
Well, I'm afraid my expertise is in occult iconography and ancient lexicography. That and Led Zeppelin.
Well, I'll let you know if I find a black dog.
Precisely. I'll pass the word around to a few colleagues and see if they have any theories.
Fantastic. Thank you, Harry. What? 7 missed calls? That can't be right.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
Oh no. What have you done now, Abigail?
Starring Jamie Evans as James Hunter and Isabella Barbieri as Abigail Corbin. With special guest Luke Hunter as Dan Cowell. Also featuring Alice Ryan, Charles Topping, Edina Fisher-Allen. Narration by David Anthony Green. Opening and closing themes by James Crow. Haunted, the audio drama, is created by Jamie Evans, with all episodes produced and directed by Jamie Evans and Benton Hodges. Audio engineering by Benton Hodges, Charles Topping and Jamie Evans. Haunted is a production of Impala Films and is recorded at Free Sprite Media Studios, with special thanks to Duncan Newham for equipment support. Thank you for listening to this audio presentation. Come back next week for the next terrifying chapter of Haunted, the audio drama.
Hi guys and gals, this is Jamie Evans, creator and half of the show-running team for Haunted, the audio drama. I also play James Hunter in the show. We really hope you're enjoying the show and that you're feeling intrigued by the mysteries we're trying to set up. I don't want to take up much of your time. I'm sure you hear something similar to this at the end of every podcast or audio drama that you listen to. This is the part of the show where we beg you for your hard-earned money. We chose to release Haunted free of charge because we wanted as many people to hear it as possible. We have no plans to ever change that model, so please don't worry, the show will continue to release for free for the foreseeable future. However, it does cost us quite a lot of money to produce Haunted. Things like marketing budgets, studio rental, equipment costs, and of course paying for our performers makes the show very expensive to produce. So we've decided to set up a Patreon where fans of the show can donate a small amount of money to us each month if you choose to do so. We have 2 different donation tiers on our Patreon, and these come with rewards including access to our Discord server, early access to episodes, and access to a behind-the-scenes show where we talk about the process of making Haunted and the sorts of things that inspired the show. That literally doubles the amount of Haunted content that you will be receiving. If you could please consider donating so that we can continue the story of James and Abigail, we would be so grateful. Find us at patreon.com/Impala Films. That's Impala spelled IMPALA. Patreon.com/Impala Films. Thank you so much and see you next time.